man, what's going on?
There you are. How you doing?
Hey, good brother. Yourself?
I'm all right. I'm all right. You sick of those four walls yet?
Oh, bro. Day one, I was. Honestly, man, like what they're doing over here, I'm just like, are we serious? Are we actually doing this? Is this actually happening?
So is that a Singapore law?
No, no, this is in Australia now, man. I just went from the Singapore law, sat in a
Oh,
room for 10 days, and now I'm in Australia doing the same thing.
well that makes so that's okay. Now I was like, man,
Uh,
either my phone's broken or he's crazy because I was
ah,
like looking at the world
uh,
clock on my phone and I'm like, the fuck is he talking
uh,
about? It's not 8 hours difference, it's 15-hour difference. I was like so confused.
no,
No, it's all
no,
good.
no, 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 no. I'm back home now, or back in Australia, so I'm not home yet, technically.
Gotcha. How long do you spend in Australia in between? Do you spend a lot of time in between fights or
It
you come
just
back?
it just depends now, man, because like my plan was to move to America in April, get my visa and move over there for at least 2 years and give it a good go over there because here there's nothing for me anymore, man. Like it's I've done it all, I've achieved it all, and it's time to get over there. And, I'm part of one of the best teams in the world, in terms of Sanford, like.
Mhm.
The guys that we got there and the coaches we got there is next level, and I've definitely felt the massive improvement, and yeah, so I just want to move over there. So for me, now it's unfortunate I have to just wait for fights to happen. Once fights happen, then I can come back over because we're in a crazy time in our lives, man. Like I got to ask my government to leave the country, and it's just like what happened to Australia? Like honestly, like it's scary, dude.
Yeah, how long had it been? Because you had been in the U.S. prior to your fight for a while. I mean, is
Mhm.
it markedly different right now going back in the kind of at this point in
Yeah,
time?
man. Yeah, for sure. Like this whole entire situation right now is just like I'm in shock. I'm like, what's going on, man? Like, what's happening to my country? Like, I can see, like, I've seen it happen all around the world for years, and now it's happening to us. And I'm like, guys, like, seriously, like, someone, like, I feel like I'm in a crazy dream. Because for me, I'm a very lucky guy, man. I've lived, a pretty sick life, man. Like, I've been all over the world. I've been to like 38 countries. I've traveled the world. Man, I've seen everywhere. I've been like South America, South Africa, Europe, Asia, professional fighter, you know what I mean? And, I've had a pretty cool, like, sometimes I admit I'm like pretty, like, you know, what's the word? Lucky life in a sense, I reckon. And, like, I just honor these people who have unfortunately lived in such a sheltered little world for so long in Australia. I'm like, you guys, like, if you don't do something now, guys, like, you're gonna pay for it forever. And the craziest thing is that I got to travel in this time when no one's. Some people aren't even allowed to leave their houses,
Hmm.
and I went to Florida, which, as you would know, man, it's like Florida's, man, it's crazy. It's the Wild West out there.
Yep.
But to me, that's how you live. But to me, I love I remember as a kid, like, I swear, I'm not trying to just be nice, but I remember as a kid, man, like people would always say, God bless America, God bless America. I think, fuck God bless America all the time. These people are crazy. And then I went over to it, and ever since I started going to America more and understanding politics and understanding the world, I was like, bro, like, I swear, like, I was sitting in Singapore in the hotel room and I was like, man, fucking God bless America, man. Like, seriously, like, and I mean that. I'm not just trying to be nice to
Mhm.
with fans or, I was like, bro, like, like, I really started getting into Americans when I first went over for college and I started doing a lot of research into American history and like the forefathers and your amendments and I was like, wow, dude, like these guys are so intelligent, like such a long time ago, how they could see the future.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've always been interested since that day, so I've always paid attention to them since. And yeah, like I said, like, I went from Florida, which is literally the Wild West, and it depends what news channel you watch is
Hmm.
how you're going to take the Wild West because that's where it comes from. To me, I see Florida as the Wild West, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, you get guns, you get cars, you get everything. Everything's there. Like, you can do whatever you want. In terms of there's a few rules,
Yep.
but you can do as you want. Then I flew to Singapore, and it was like, whoa, like literally, like, it was just a complete another world. Like,
Hmm.
do this, download this app, go here, everything's clean, everything's, you can't leave your room. And I'm just like, okay, fair enough. I respect, both sides of the end. Like some people are like, no, I don't live in Florida. It's crazy. Like it's too much. Fair enough. And then I respect Singapore's side, and I'm just like, me as an Australian, we had like perfectly in the middle. We are such a great country. We really did. Like money, jobs, the great weather. You know, we had like some rules. You know, some some liberties, and eventually it was just slowly taken away. Now it's at a point where seriously, some people are so far gone that like I talk to them and I'm like, whoa, man, like you really you really are so far on the other side now. Like, and I feel like you can't be told, they can't help them anymore. Like, I just like, I don't, so it's a scary time in Australia. It really is for me.
Yeah, I always like getting perspective of someone like yourself who's got the experience of both, because I'm pretty
Yeah,
insulated. I mean, I've traveled a little
yeah,
bit, but I haven't been to all the places that you have. And it's
yeah,
that perspective of doing it now too, where you can kind of see it in real time. It's
yeah.
fun.
And that I've got to say that's what really, really like blew my mind, man. Was real time, like going, like one guy actually. Someone put up a thing. Like I try not to look too much into this whole thing. Like I don't watch the news, and I don't even watch the other side because I don't want to get caught up in it. This is what I see. This is my world. What's in front of my eyes, not what's coming through the TV. What's only coming through my eyes. That's how I try to live. Because if you get caught up in the other side, you can really get sent down a path, and you can go a bit mad. Like you really can, and that goes on both sides, man. Because you got one people sitting over here going, the news said it. And you got the other guy on the other side saying, I read it on Facebook, and they're both looking at each other thinking, you're crazy, as if you believe it. And it's like, but you're both sort of like, so I just believe what I see and what I believe in. And yeah, man, like I'm seeing the world in real time, like go a bit crazy, and I'm just like, oh my God, like guys, like seriously, like I know I'm not intelligent, like I know I can't read and write as well as most people. I'm not gonna lie, but like man, I'm only 30 years old, 29 years old, and I think the amount of knowledge that I have in here is crazy, and I can't even explain it to people. And I'm like, you guys gotta be careful, man, because before you know it, like everything's gone, and you're gonna be living in a bad way. So be careful, man. But
Yeah.
hey, well, what can you do?
No, you're so right. It's people people don't want to use their brain. And I'm somebody, I look at history as, history tells the tale of everything. And
Yes, yes.
it's very ignorant for all of us, no matter where we live, to look and think that how things are currently right now, the lines that are on these pieces of paper that say these are borders. I mean, I can go and if you gave me 10 minutes, I could show you 10 different versions of a world map over the course of
Yep.
history. It's
Yep.
always been like that. And
Yeah,
we've
man.
kind of been disillusioned a little bit by all these
100%.
distractions on, with things that we like and TV and shows and the Kardashians and UFC and ONE FC and you name it, right? It's all made us kind of lose track that we're organic beings on this like organic rock, and that for thousands and thousands of years, people have been killing each other so that they can have
Yeah.
what other people want.
100%, man. And that's one thing that I when I'm trying to discuss about what I'm saying, and I just say to these people, I'm like, just do like, and don't even go too far back. Like, here's a great example. I was on the phone because they call you daily to check in on you. These people, they call in daily and they say, how you doing? And I say, I always tell them, well, I'm not doing very well. I'm in my own country, like under a house arrest. You know what I mean? And they're like, it's not house arrest. I said, it is, because if I walk out the door, I'm getting arrested. So
So
I am under house
it is
arrest.
that bad in
Yeah,
Australia. So
yeah,
if you were
yeah,
to go outside right now, you could
yeah.
have
Oh, yeah.
authorities
Oh,
stop you and throw you in jail.
there's police there. Yeah, for sure. There's police downstairs. Wait, they're down there. They're down there waiting. So if you dare go downstairs, you're getting locked up. Like you're going to jail. You're seen as such a. That's what I'm saying to these people. Like, I know you guys are down there earning a paycheck. I know that, and I know you get to go home to your family. And I said, I understand that, but you've got to understand that very small paycheck that you're earning, the repercussions you're going to have to our country are crazy. Like, you guys really have to understand. Like, and I hate when people say, oh, they're just doing their job. Okay, fair enough, you're doing your job, but just because you're getting paid, it doesn't make it right. Like, you got to understand ethically. Like, fair enough, they might actually believe, and you know what? Sometimes I sit back and I'm like, I really hope it is what they say it is. I really hope it is just a pandemic, and I really hope I do. I'm like, but unfortunately, like I just can't believe it. Like, You know, like I was saying this later, like I know you're sitting there earning your paycheck and stuff, but you got to be careful what you're doing to like. For me, it's okay. I just done my job. You know, I just got paid one championship, great enough. The organization they're paying for my stay here because it's $3,000. You've also got to pay. You know, that's on top of that. So you're by law sent here, then by law have to pay to be here. $3,000 for 2 weeks. And I said, you know, for me, it's not a huge problem. I said, like I said, I got paid. The organization is going to help pay for this year. I said, but think about the single mum who just lost their job. She's now $3,000 out of pocket. $3,000 is a lot of money to some people. Yeah. I said, just think about that. Like, do you really think what you're doing is right? And, you know, she goes, oh, look, we're just lucky that we've got good statistics. I said, read me back your statistics. I said, she goes, oh, I don't know. I said, what's the death rate? I said, I'm pretty sure the death rate's like 0.0 something. It's so low in Australia.
And maybe they have the statistics, but if they do, I'd also like to know if they can share the ones that talk about how many people are committing suicide, how many people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know, how many people. I had a conversation earlier this week. I've been talking a lot about this, and it was, what about people? Myself, right? I've not gone to the doctor in over a year, and I've got an autoimmune problem that I'm dealing. It's not life threatening, right? But I haven't gone to the doctor initially because they weren't accepting me as a patient because of what was going on. How many people are going to die of cancers that go untreated, that, you know, miss risk factors for all kinds of different diseases because we're concerned about some people getting sick? And I'll take it a step further. I'm going to piss a lot of people off by saying this, but I was always really hard on the weight problem, especially in America. There's an obesity problem in America. And we started to move into a direction where you can't talk about that. You're going to hurt people's feelings. You're fat shaming them. And even as of like 6 months ago, Sports Illustrated did a swimsuit edition where they put an obese girl on the front cover, which I'm not saying you're a bad person for being obese, but you're going out of your way to propagate that message. And when you look at the statistics of COVID, the people that are dying and that are sick, that are adding to the statistics, which the statistics that are keeping all of us locked in our homes, and you potentially, you know, could get arrested for it. Yeah. Because a certain group of people aren't healthy. So, you know, like.
I said that from day one, man. I said, no offense, like, let's be honest, like, the people that are at the biggest risk of all it, I mean, no offense, like, I don't want to, once again, don't want to be rude, man, but you're just like lazy, like fat bums, like you really are. Like, I laugh. I actually find it so moronic that a person would stand in a line of McDonald's with a face mask on. I'm like, no offense, dude. Like, you're scared of a so-called like virus, right? But you're about to literally eat like nuclear waste. Like, let's be honest, that stuff is almost nuclear waste, man. Like, I've seen some stuff on it that I've watched videos that how the bread won't even break down after like a certain amount of time, and they've poured like hot copper on it and it just falls off. I'm like, dude, like, how can you actually eat that and put that in your body? Like, I just think that is so scary. But yet you're standing in the line wearing a mask, looking at me going, how dare you not wear a mask? About to order McDonald's. I'm like, it just doesn't add up. Like, that's what's happening in the world. We're losing our logic, like the logic of like human beings is being lost. We're just so led down any path for advertising and you know what the TV tells us is so controlling now. It's like we're so far gone. We're so far gone. It's not funny, and I'm just like, whoa, like I said, it actually worries me at times. Like talking to some people, I almost get a bit I get frustrated talking to them because I'm like, man, like honestly, how can you sit in front of me like and claim that you're worried about your health, but yet, you know, here you are smoking a cigarette, eating McDonald's. I'm like, they just don't add up.
Well, now there's an avenue to criticize those people in real time. Yeah. And so and this is how I think most people operate, right? They look at life and they say, okay, yeah, I agree. This is a slippery slope. I don't want to deal with the consequences of what this leads to in 10 years. Yeah. But then before they can actually take the actions to be a part of fixing that problem, they remember, oh, but there's a closer threat to me, which is social media and the people who might disagree with me. And that will affect me sooner than, you know, my freedoms being taken away from allowing this behavior. And so people, they kind of weigh the two and they say, oh, that's not that big of a deal. And we got some time. So I'll just keep my mouth shut, or I'll configure to this because I don't want to deal with the short-term consequences.
That's exactly what people are doing right now. We're turning into a society of like I get it. Like I'm all for like let's accept everybody. Everyone's like I really am. Like I'm open to like everyone. If you want to be, you know, like people who are gay, people who are, you know, like obese, you be what you want to be like in this world. Really, like I fight in a cage. People probably think I'm a moron for doing that, and I say once again, that's cool, man. Like I have no issue with that. Like I can see where you think I'm an idiot because yeah, it is a bit barbaric, but that's what I choose to do. That it's a free world. Like I've chosen to do this in my life. That's what another cool thing about America is, especially a lot of people around the world don't realize, but America's a huge place, right? And every state has their different views.
I'm glad you point that out because you go to other countries, it is the way China is. If China's this way or Singapore's that way, that's how it is. We live in a country where if you don't like what New York's doing, you can move to Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
you don't like what they're doing, you can move to Los Angeles. And
it's one thing I love. It's one thing I love about America. You know what I mean? I love that about it. The states that you guys have, like your different states, different views, different taxes, different laws. You know, and I like that because I'm not. I don't want to rock up to a country and be like, nah, no more of this. Stop this. You know, I think that's unfair. If that's what you guys are going with, cool. Like, run with your thing. Like I said, like, you know, for instance, Singapore, it's a beautiful place. It really is. It's a great country. It's beautiful. If you ever get a chance to visit it, please do so. It's really nice. But once again, I'm not into the whole laws and the whole how strict it is. That's not me. I wouldn't want to live there. But once again, like I said, I'll go there, visit it. I'll follow your rules and then I'll leave. You know what I mean? You know, like I'm cool with that. You know, I'm more of a person who likes a place like Florida. You know, a bit of mayhem, but you know, uncertainty, and I like that. So, you know, once again, I'm not going to push that view on the world. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to go to Florida. That, like, for me personally, that's why I would like to move there for a while. Not only because of the gym, but I like it. It's a cool place, man. It's a fun place.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So, you know, obviously the move has been a big thing for you. I watched the fight a couple of times. I rewatched it. And congratulations, man. I know that was a huge win for you. And it's got to be something trippy when you get in there with somebody that's your idol. And you saw that with Uriah Hall and Anderson Silva.
It was funny that the next day.
What is that like?
You know what, man? It's humbling, but it's also, you know what I mean? This whole martial arts is a journey. Like it really is. And like, I guess things are timing at the right time. So, you know, I had my first fight, one championship, and, you know, I really went into that fight and my mindset was, I'm just so happy to be here, man. You don't understand, like, where I come from is a place, it's called Adelaide, South Australia. And let me just tell you, man, nothing happens here. Nothing. Like, even if we have like a rock band come here, they usually skip our city because nothing happens here. Like, with no one's, you know, nothing's really going on here. So for me, man, like, to get signed by one championship was already such a massive deal. Like, it was such a buzz around, like, you know, my family, friends, around the city. A lot of people were talking about it. And then, you know, I got a fight and, you know, there was a lot of buzz. I went over to, you know, and I flew over to Indonesia and, you know, I felt like, oh man, I'm just happy to be here. Like, what an experience, man. Like, I'm in Indonesia. Like, I got flown here for free. Like, this is so cool. Like, wow, you know. And that's what I felt like going into. I felt like a kid who was on a vacation. And I went into the fight, you know, very amped, very emotional, very like, oh my God, like, what an experience. And, you know, I fell short. All that emotion, literally, I reckon within 3 minutes, so much energy was expended out of my body that I was like, I remember saying to myself 3 minutes to the first round, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this fight. Like, I'm so tired. Like, I can't even lift my arms up. But, you know, without talking about it too much, that's my attitude as a fighter. I'm like, well, I'm here now. And honestly, like the name says, I'm Antonio the Spartan. And I'm either going to die on my shield, you know, I mean, I'm going to win this fight. So I was like, well, let's just do it. Let's do it, man. I went out there and gave my best shot. And unfortunately, I fell short. And I had a lot of time to reflect, you know, after that, I had time to reflect. And then this camp was a whole nother experience. It was, nah, man, like, this is my time. Like, no, like, I'm not here to be, like, I like Eduard Folayang. I'm a huge fan of him, still am. You know what I mean? I watched heaps of his fights, but I was like, man, come October 30, I'm going to disrespect that man. I'm going to beat that man. I want to bash him. I want to hurt him. I want to take everything he's got. And that attitude itself, it's crazy because, you know, a lot of people talk about mindset and stuff. And I was like, whoa, man, like how powerful your mind is such a like crazy thing, man. And literally going into that fight, I felt invincible, man. I felt untouchable. I felt, you know, like nothing in this world was going to stop me. And even when I won the fight, like I remember I walked out of the because they check you after the fight, and I walked out and I went to get in the taxi with take us back to the hotel, and I remember looking at my corner guy, Marquez. I was like, bro, like I'd done it. Like I actually won a fight for one chance. I'm from Adelaide. Like I'm from Adelaide, and I just won. I won a fight in front of millions of people. Like wow. And he was like, I know, bro. I told you you'd do it. And then as soon as I got in the taxi, I drove home. I went to my hotel and I was like, yeah, all right. Now, like I was feeling like, okay, well, I've got to get ready because I've got to go back to training now because now I have to get back there and keep this momentum going. And that's all I could think about. People were ringing me like, oh my God, like people were like at home were going like if I get my friends making a proper video of it, but there was like about 100 people at my house and there were like flares. The people like my girlfriend was like, everyone was like, when you won, like everyone was crying. Like it was just madness. Like she didn't understand. Like everyone was cheering. Like it was going. And I was like, whoa, man. Like even that feeling of thinking, wow, like people actually like went out of their way to watch me. Like, well, that's crazy. Like, you know, you can't even like fathom it. And I was like, wow. Then everyone's ringing me going, I bet you're going crazy, Tony, because they were going crazy. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not, man. Like I told you so. And you know what I mean? And then I started understanding when you hear guys like Conor McGregor and you hear those guys and they're so confident and you're like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. So, because, you know, I told you so, man. Like, I told you that I'm going to guard the October 3rd. Now, I never knew that I was going to win. That's the thing. You never know. That's what makes the game so fun because I don't know if I'm going to win. And, you know, that's what's so exciting about life, the uncertainty. I love uncertainty in life, really do. And yeah, to go out there and get my job done. I was like, I told you, man. Like to me, it's just a job, man. I went out there, I won my fight. Let's go on to the next one, man. I'm excited for the future. And yeah, it was a crazy experience, man. Like to pull it back a bit, you know, to fight a guy like Eduard Folayang, man, was like, you know, just to meet him, I was like, oh man, like, you know, I'm a huge fan, man. Like, nice to meet you, bro. But like I said, like, I seen him in around the hotel because we were in isolation and stuff. I've seen him a few times. I waved at him. You know, but come the fight night, I was like, I want to kill this man. Like, I want to hurt him. I don't care who he is. I don't care what his name is. I'm going to beat him up. And then as soon as I finished, I just had, like I said, you see me, I dropped to my knees and I was like, bro, like, you're a legend. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the Wayne's World, I'm not worthy. You know, I was like, I'm not worthy, you know, because, hey, man, at the end of the day, like, the guy's a legend, you know, and you know, I'm so glad that I got to get in the cage with him. Like, I really was. And I exchanged T-shirts with him after the fight. I gave him mine. He gave me his. And yeah, and I told him, I said, you're a legend. I said, I'm honored to have gotten the cage with you, and you know, I wish you nothing but the best for you and your family. And yeah, we're going our way. And that's one thing I love about this MMA game. Like, it's so like it's cool. You beat each other up, then after you're like, hey man, like all the best, you know, and then you just go on about your day. It's a very honorable game. It's a very honorable game.
I saw the photo of you two. I think it was in the hotel after the fights. I was shocked. I mean, he's a thick guy. He's always like he's always looked really big. I guess I didn't realize his height, but you were so much bigger than him. I was I mean, that shocked me. Was there anything about that fight that surprised you either,
you know what, man?
way, or
you know, I've watched so much about the guy. Like I knew in that last round, I was like, this guy's gonna come at me with everything. Like, even when I caught him with that right hand, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit like, oh man, as if I dropped him, you know what I mean? But then I was like, I know he is experienced and he's tough. Don't rush. And even in that last round, as soon as that bell started, I tried to get in his face because I was like, I know his mentality. I've watched, like I said, I watched him for so long. I'm like, I know he's going to come at me because he's going to know I have to throw it in caution into the wind. And it's exactly what he did. He came hard at me. You know what I mean? We were able to weather the storm. But honestly, I came with such a good game plan. Honestly, I'm also mentally like prepared for everything that he had. I was like, nah, I got this. Like, there's no way this guy can beat me. And yeah, and it showed on the night.
Yeah, no, you looked sharp. I mean, every fight that I've seen of you, you keep the pressure. Yeah. You're the guy walking people to the side. It's which if anybody hasn't watched your fights, they're fun as hell. I mean, Spartan is like the best nickname for you.
That's the funny thing. Like, a lot of, because I'm half Greek, half Italian, so that's why my background. My mum's Greek, my dad's Italian. And a lot of people, like, I grew up very Italian, like very, very Italian, like Italian food. You know, my grandparents, we grew up with my dad's parents, so just like very Italian kids, man. And in Australia, it's very like Italians and Greeks have a bit of a rivalry. It's a fun rivalry. They like each other, but it's a bit of a playful rivalry. So a lot of like Greeks and Italians always like, oh, how you're not the Spartan, you're Italian, and a lot of Greeks like you're not the Spartan. But then it was weird because when I got that name, I always liked the name the Italian Stallion because I love Rocky. Like Rocky to me, I love him, man. Like he's my man. Like I watched him my whole life. Like even before I started, I went pro for the funny story before my first pro boxing fight. That because I was an MMA fighter, then I went over to pro boxing just to have some fights. And the guys, they'll interview him and they're like, "Oh, who's your favorite fighter?" I was like, "You know what, man? I've never actually watched a pro boxing fight before." They're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I've never watched one." They're like, "Well, then who's your favorite fighter?" I said, "Honestly, my favorite fighter would be Rocky Balboa." And they were laughing at me. I'm like, "Seriously, dude? Like, I love the guy. Like, I think he done such a great thing. Like those films. He's so well like depicted a fighter's life. It's insane." And anyway, so back to the name, the Spartan. And I was training and like I said, I want to be the Italian Stallion. I always liked that name, but it was a bit cringy. And you shouldn't give yourself your own nickname. I remember hearing that once.
Yeah.
Let someone give you the nickname. And I was training, and one of the boxing coach goes to me, "Oh, you should call yourself the Spartan." He's like, "Yeah." No, he just said to me, "Antonio the Spartan." And I was like, "Oh, that sounded pretty cool." And he's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Well," he's like, "You fight like a Spartan." And I was like, "You know what, man? Like honestly, like I never had any like big talents. I was never the strongest. I was never the fastest. I was never and I'm not just saying it to be cliche. Like, I was always, if someone always beat me at everything, but there was one thing that always changed me to everyone else's. I was always the guy that rocked up the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. Like I was always there. And I started like with my brothers. We all started training martial arts together, doing jiu-jitsu together. And I was just always there, always there. Sometimes they would have things on, but I would always be there, no matter what, day in, day out, every day I'd be there. And that's pretty much the story of my like martial arts. I've had so many different training partners over the years that just like I've had to keep interchanging because like no one can just keep up. Like I wear them out so fast that like, man, I'm out of here. Then the next one I ring up, next guy, "Hey man, what are you doing?" "Oh, okay, I got you." So I start training for him. Oh, then he goes missing, and then the next guy. And that's why eventually I had to make the move over to America because over there, hey man, the great thing is they're all killers. Admittedly, I'm getting beat up some rounds. I'm like, this is beautiful. This is what I want. This is what I need. Here was just like I kept running everyone ragged, and I was like, okay, man, like it's time to move on. And that's when I made the move.
Yeah, no, it's something special happening at Sanford. Obviously,
Yeah, no, it is seriously.
The conversations that I've had with Rumble, I have a little bit of a relationship. We're partnered together in Action Coffee, and the handful of dialogue. The handful of conversations that I've had about him or had with him about the training is, Henry's a genius. He's a wizard, but the stable of fighters, to your point, that you guys are able to work with every single day to push each other, a mentality that you have to just show up every single day and try to get better. That's the environment that I would imagine is going to help you just continue to grow and further and further.
Well, that's the cool thing about Sanford. Like, it's one thing, like if you look at it from the outside in, you're like, oh, here you go, you just got all these gunfighters, you got all the best facilities, but it's like we don't base it off that. We never, like Henry and the coaches, Greg, and they never like let us like live off those names. It's like we want to get better. Like even Greg, we had a big meeting. Coach Greg, the wrestling coach, said, guys, like honestly, he's like, you say what you want, but he's like, I want to hear we are the best team. He goes, because if we are the best team, we've achieved everything. He's like, no, we want to be the best team. Things like that, little things like that. It's like, wow, man, you know what I mean? Like, that's the attitude that we're breeding there. And, even things like Greg says to us, Coach Greg, he says, we don't lose, we just run out of time. And I was like, like, that's those things, that's the environment they're breeding down there. And another massive thing is that I love about that gym too is like, I can't, like I said, I come from where I come from you know, a lot of the times I'd go to a lot of gyms and it's almost like people don't even want to say hello to me. It's like in Australia, we've got that very tall poppy syndrome in a sense. Like no one wants to see anyone else do good. Like, nah, oh, he's doing good. Don't watch, don't look at everyone, look at the other way. So he doesn't get any attention. Like, here's a great example. I fought against a 2-time world champion, you know, like watched by millions of people around the world, you know, and ESPN are talking about me. All of the Philippines is talking about me. When you search my name, there's articles everywhere. And there's not one article from Australia, not one article, not one channel
It's that
spoke about
famine
me.
mentality, man.
Yeah.
There's to your point, you know, there's not a lot of people that are able to come out of there. So they see you being, you're occupying that space that other people want. So there's jealousy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, man. And that's what the thing that I found with Sanford is like, I thought I'd go over there and it's like everyone would want to protect themselves. Like, I don't want to help you sort of thing. I'm the champ. I don't need to help you. But it was the complete opposite. It was like, everybody's like coming to watch each other's fights. Everybody's like commenting on each other's stuff, resharing. And I'm like, whoa, man, like that's crazy. Like, what an attitude to like have amongst the team, you know what I mean? Of killers and of champions, and we want nothing but the best for one another. And that was my favorite thing about the gym. Not the names, not the facilities, not the coaches, but I was like, man, I was so taken back with that. I was like, this is really cool, man. Like that, you know, I come to a gym like this and you think it would be, like I said, the opposite way, but it's not. It was so inviting. Everyone wants to help one another. Like all the guys messaged me after the fight, you know, and it's awesome, man. I'm like, I love it, you know, and just what they're doing in terms of like how Sanford's gonna revolutionize MMA. I'm so excited for the future with them, man, because like, you know, like I started in a gym. I seriously, dude, like we started in a gym. We just wear like board shorts, like, you know, like what board shorts are, like surfy sort of shorts, and just any old random t-shirt. There was no such thing as like brands, no such thing as like rash guards. We just roll. And, you know, the mats would literally, we would share the gym with a boxing gym. The mats were filthy. If you wore a gi, you couldn't wear a white gi because it would just be ruined within seconds. Like it was, that's how we started in this dirty old gym with, you know, literally watching YouTube because like, even before that, my coach really learned from tapes. Like he would get tapes sent over, he'd watch them and then teach us the tapes. And then in my city, we didn't even have a black belt. Like, there's no such thing as a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like in the highest ranking guy was a brown belt, Leo Ruda, and he was a brown belt from Brazil, and my coach was a purple belt. And that's how we started. And now I'm standing in a gym with like, you know, world champions, you know, like Henry Hoof and, you know, Greg Jones and Cammy, you know, and then they've got like these massive facilities that are clean 24/7. You know, like we've got our own fighters lounge to hang out in. We've got a recovery room to go to, you know, and I'm just like, wow, man, like it's like I said earlier, I really, you know, sometimes I got to pinch myself and be like, is this real? Is this real? Is this actually happening? Like honestly, like that was one thing I got to say. Sometimes I sit back and, you know, I actually say to myself, like, is this really happening? Like, is this real? I don't know if this life is actually really like, am I in a virtual reality or something? What's going on here? Like, yeah, because and the crazy thing is it's sort of just the beginning for me, and it's just like, hey, I want to send my message and my story around the world to say, hey man, I was just a nobody from Adelaide, and I've done all this with my life. Like, what's holding you back? What's stopping you?
Not to get off topic, but you've said it a couple times and it's rung in my head. Adelaide, is that where Adam Greentree is from? You know who Adam Greentree is?
No, what is it? Who is
I'll
he?
have to. I'll send you a DM with his info. He's a hunter. He's from Australia, but he's a big backcountry hunter. He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say I've heard the name from Joe Rogan, but I don't know if he's from Adelaide.
I feel like I've heard him say that. I've never, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have a clue what it is outside of that. But
Adelaide, honestly, man, like we've really haven't got much coming out of here. But yeah, like I said, man, like it's cool. Hopefully a guy like him is from Adelaide, you know, and that's what I mean. Like, I wish he would spread his message more to tell like people, hey, just because you're from Adelaide, like, you know, it doesn't mean you can't make it. Like if it's true to the story of, you know, what you put in is what you get out. You know what I mean? And if you give it everything, then you're going to get a lot out of it. But if you don't give it a lot, then, you know what I mean, then who knows, you know, you just live a normal, like I don't know, personally, I don't want to live a normal life. I want to live like this crazy, wacky life, man. That's why I get concerned about this whole situation with what's going on in the world. Like, to go to, like, from Adelaide to Melbourne, which is the next city over, you've got to ask for a government exemption. I'm like, what, man? Like, if, like, dude, we used to just jump on planes, just go to, Brazil. We used to go to, South America. Like, we used to go to, Indonesia. We used to go to Thailand. You didn't have to ask nobody. Now, like, to drive 8 hours away to the next city, you got to, like, ring up the government and get an exemption, and you got to stay in the hotel for 14. I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, I really don't want this to happen to the next generation. I want to live in a free and open world where everybody is accepted and everybody can do whatever they want. And I know that it's hard, because if you can't do everything you want, because there's laws, and I get it. But yeah, like, I get worried for the next generation of kids that do, man. Like, I want them to be able to live the life that I got, you know what I mean? And I really hope it doesn't change. So, we'll see what the future holds.
So what does the future hold for you in ONE FC? I mean, I know up until your fight with Peter Boos, you were 7-0, and I know, like, talking early on, it was kind of I don't think you probably feel like you were at your best for that fight, as far as maybe mentally, and now going through this experience, having a victory, especially over somebody that has a big name, somebody that was kind of emotional for you because you've been a fan. I'd imagine there's a part of you that wants a piece at him again. Does it look like the road will cross? I mean, he sits what right now? Like, he's third in the rankings, I think, in lightweight.
He just fought. Then I just seen him in the background. He just lost to there's number one or number two. So he unfortunately just lost on a decision. So yeah, of course, like, Peter would be. I need that O back, man. Like, it hurts me every day knowing that I lost that my O. But at the same time, I'm excited about the future, because, like, I've been saying it for years, and I know, like, I said to myself, as soon as I can get this monkey off my back, like, of doubt, of like, I'm not good enough. Like, I'm seriously like, man, the world better watch out, because I'm gonna run riot, man. Like, I'm gonna go, Hulk Hogan, when he used to go mad, and he used to, no one could stop him. That's like, something like that. And because honestly, and that's what I feel like after this win, that's what it's done to me. It's like, man, I got what it takes, man. I can beat anyone in the world. Like, I really can, man. Like, I'm really starting to believe it in my heart now. So in saying that, like, Peter's, like I said, he's always, and sometimes we talk back and forth with him on Instagram. We talk. He's not about, like I said, I got no animosity towards him, because I don't want to beat him up. But you know what I mean, like. I tell him all the time, like, Peter, I'm come back for that. Oh, like, don't think that, I know we're mates and we talk, but I'm beat you up, man. I'll make you pay for that. We have a bit of laugh. But, whoever, man, like, I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to see what one championship are going to throw at me. And, I really enjoy being a part of the organization. I think they're a cool brand. I like what they're doing for the sport. And I just like being a part of them. And so, we'll see what they say. One fight that a lot of people have been asking, like, who do you want to fight? I was like, look, Peter's obviously a guy that I talk about, but I'm at the same time, I want to fight different guys, man. I don't want to fight the same guy after 3 fights, two of the same person. But some people have been saying to me, oh, what about Eddie Alvarez? And I was like, yeah, man, like, he is from Philly, and I am the real life Rocky. You know what I mean? So we'll have to go down and see.
That could be a hell of a fight, man. I didn't think about that, but your styles, it would be a war. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Now it's another guy, man. Once again, I'm a big fan of Eddie Alvarez. I think he's a champion. And that's the thing. I'm an open and honest guy, man. I'll be honest. When I meet someone, I'm like, dude, I think you're cool. Like, I met Michael Chandler. I was like, dude, like, big fan, bro. Like, I train with him, so you got to be. I don't want to fanboy too much. But I went up to Martha and said, I just want to let you know, man. Like, I'm a big fan. And I remember watching you and Eddie Alvarez back in the day. I was like, I just want to let you know. And he's like, nah. He's like, thank you very much. Because I like to be open and honest. So that's one thing I'm big on, is like, I hate people that jazz it up for the media. I'm like, nah, man. Like, even after my fight, they were saying to me, oh, you looked a bit tired, and like going into the third. I was like, yeah, man. I think I ate too much food, man. I was like, I felt sick after, and they were laughing. I was like, honestly, dude, like, I just like to be raw and honest and open. And yeah, but Eddie Alvarez is the guy that people have been talking to me about. But like I said, man, we'll leave that up to management. Will leave that up to one championship, and we'll see what the future holds for me. But at the end of the day, it's going to be exciting. I know that.
I'm excited for it, dude. Like I said, I wanted to, I watched the fight the other night. I was so excited, as we've kind of connected and seeing where
Yeah.
you're going. But I went back and rewatched it, and then I went and rewatched like 2 or 3 other fights that you had. So I'm pumped.
Yeah.
As soon as it's announced, I'll be certainly sharing it with everybody so they can go check it out.
My man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you having me on here, man. I like watching your show, and I like what you. And once again, I love like people stepping outside the box, like you guys do your podcasts and coffee, and I like that. That's one thing I like about. I like diversity, so that's why I like to encourage diversity, and I like to also show support to it. So that's why I get behind you.
Well, hey man, it was dope as hell you're cutting weight and I flip it and you're in the sauna listening to the show, man. It's
Yeah.
probably not for me. You're catching up on what Tim Kennedy had to say, but regardless.
Yeah, no, you know what? I like Tim Kennedy. He's a guy I listened to him on Joe Rogan, and then I seen that you done it with this. So I listened to him. I like him. I think he's cool, man. He's like once again, I find a lot of fighters we're such like we've just seen so much, and for us, it's like one thing that fighters that just separate us from any other sport in the world is, well, for starters, we do the most savage sport there is. But B, man, fighters, we ain't got it easy. Like, we never had no dietitians. We had to pay for them. We had to pay for physios. We had to pay for doctors. Football, look at the NFL guys. You walk in, you get paid millions of dollars. You got doctors there. You got everything. Everything's on hand.
You still hear
what I
it.
mean?
I've had conversations with fighters and they're like, I'm hoping that I get my nose broke so I can get it fixed. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, the UFC will pay for my surgery, but it has to be an injury from here. So they won't disclose the fact that they have something wrong and hopes that they actually get caught so they can get it fixed. I mean, that's at the highest level of this sport.
I know, man. I know. That's what people don't realize, man. Like, like these NFL boys, they're flying around in private jets, bro. We're flying economy, getting like after my camp, bro. Like, I done them while I've been stuck here in isolation. I added up all my costs, all my price. I was like, man, after my camp and everything, man, like literally, I literally half my pay that I got paid for the show is gone. Like, I'm only walking away with like, I think it was just over half the money is in my pocket. So I'm like, like, dude, like, we really do it for like peanuts.
Then the government comes and says, "Hey, I still need my cut too." By the way,
the beautiful thing about that fight is the government took their cut, and then the Australian government's going to take their cut as well. So I got double screwed over. But you know what I mean? Like, that's another thing for us fighters is like, we know it and we just love it so much. Like, honestly, we just love it so much, and that's why a lot of throughout this week, a lot of media outlets were asking me about, do you think Eduard Folayang should retire? And I said, look, man, you guys don't understand fighters. You guys are on the other side of the fence. I said, some fighters literally, like you see, like Emelianenko there, the Fedor, like he just keeps fighting, and people are like, why is he? Even Roy Jones Jr., why do they keep going? And I said, some people just like to fight. They just like to have a fight. They just want to get in there and punch someone in the face. So I said, they're either going to do it in the car park of a shopping center or they're going to do it in the ring. Like, honestly, like, it's not always, like, to us fighters, isn't it always about a sport? It isn't always about being athletes. Sometimes some guys just like to, have a scrap. Like, you see, what's his name? Masvidal, he's a guy. He just wants to beat people up. Like, if you don't have him in the cage, he's probably going to be on the street.
Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah, Cowboy Cerrone is another guy, man. They just want to fight, man. Leave him be. Like, if that's what they want to do, leave them be. Let them compete. They're not like other ball players, man. That that they do it for the paycheck. Like, some guys just like to have a good old fight, and I say, good luck to them, man. Let's go get it.
No, couldn't say it more perfectly myself, man.
Yeah.
I know it's super late. I appreciate you doing this. It was a little bit of a struggle, time zones and everything, but
yeah,
man.
when you said it to me, you're like, and I looked at the time, and then I sort of thought to myself, I thought, wait, what have I got to do tomorrow? I've literally got, like, where am I going? Like, I can't walk out that door, man. Like, so I was like, just shut up and just wait. You know what I mean? So it was all right anyway, because I wanted to stop and watch the One Championship. I'm going to watch the main event just about to start in a minute. So I'll finish watching that. And yeah, man, like, what do I care? Like I said, I'm just going to chill out now and then get some rest.
Well, don't go crazy in these remaining days. What do you have left? Like 8 or 9 days?
Well, way more than that. I think I'm in the 4th day. I got in on Tuesday and it's Friday night. So what's that? Because apparently this is another funny one. I had an argument with the lady on the phone. She hung up on me. So I said to her just a quick before we finished. I said, so when do I get out of here? Like the day I got in here? No, the day you got in, it doesn't count. I said, pardon? She goes, the day you came in the hotel, it doesn't count. I said, how does that not count, love? Like, I walked in, the day counts. She goes, oh, no, it's according to the laws. I said, I don't care about your laws. So this is the problem, what's going on in the world. If you just hear the word law, it's almost, it has to be. I'm like, honey, the day was Tuesday. Like, you can't ride the Tuesday after the fact. It happened, whether the law is not. I said, how is that not count? I said, you know what the funny thing is too? When you send me my bill, I guarantee you're going to bill me for that day, aren't you? Because that's that. And then, she had nothing. She just hung up on me. I was
Bingo.
like, okay. So then she rang me again today. I said, oh, you're the one who hung up on me. I said, yeah, you're doing a great job down there. You're supposed to help me, and yet you hang up on me. She goes, yeah, whatever. I was like,
you're looking for it. I love it, man.
They're screwing with me, so I screw back. I just have a laugh with them, man.
I was getting, I don't know, like in America, I don't know if you may get them if you have a US phone from being in Florida, but text messages, especially like the last week about, are you voting for Donald Trump? Are you going to vote for Joe Biden? Are you going to vote for Trump? After a while, I started sending some shit back. If it's like, what? Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
You don't need
my friend Marquez, he's an American. He was telling me, he's like, man, I just keep getting all these messages, and he did the same thing. He would write back to him. But what is it? Just quickly, what is the go with the whole? What's going on there? I'm trying to understand with the Biden Trump. Who wins? What's going on?
So, I don't know, man. Like, I've got my issues with the whole system and the way that everything is set up. Right now, Trump is slowly losing his lead because of mail-in ballots. And here's where my problem is. So anybody that decided to listen to this whole thing and is still with us and isn't going to hang up as soon as I start talking about this, maybe they'll agree or disagree. But when you look back even to January, everything that's happened along the way seems like it was written in a movie so that it lines up perfectly for all of this to happen. And, Donald Trump shocked the world 4 years ago. A lot of people said that it wasn't real, that he used Russia to get in. That was proven through investigations to not be the case. But all of the news media, I don't care who you are, you can't deny that they've hated him and they've wanted him out. They've looked for every reason. They impeached him in the House of Representatives to try to get him out. That didn't stick. And when COVID happened, all of the states individually started changing their laws to allow for mailing in your ballots. States that really have never accepted that. Some of them, a lot of states accept like absentee ballots, but it's a small number. And so they're able to manage that, and it doesn't really impact elections a whole lot. They've changed it all, saying we don't want people to go out to the polls because of COVID. But they pushed this, like the Democratic Party and Biden pushed this as a way, and they had a huge campaign for like the last 5 months about mail-in votes. Make sure you mail in your votes. Everybody mail in votes. Everybody mail in votes. Well, at the end of the night of the election, Trump was winning in a landslide. But after all of the in-person votes, which are all of the people on the Republican Party who still went to the polls to vote, after they were all counted and the number was set on how many they were, all of a sudden they started counting all the mail-in ballots. And magically they're finding just enough in all these states that are run by the opposite party to eclipse him. And it's just like, I think every vote should be counted that's legitimate. Every vote, if that was what the rule is, then count the votes. But this is an honest to God, I'm not lying when I say this. My wife's uncle passed away about 9 or 10 years ago. She lives outside of Philadelphia. Pennsylvania is the state right now where this is happening. Like, so lawsuits already getting filed. My mother-in-law got a mail-in ballot in the mail for her brother who's been dead for 10 years. And so like, I don't know how much of this shit's true. I see people saying they traced their vote, and people who voted for Trump trace their vote and it's actually been tallied for Biden. Other people say they can't find their vote. I don't know if that's even true or not.
But that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah. No, that's why you got to be careful with like what you believe, and that's what I said before. Like whether it's the internet or the news, you just like I don't know who to believe anymore. And that's why it gets a bit crazy. But I mean, I just think like definitely there's something like fishy going on down there, man. Like in America, that no one likes Donald. Like you and Tim Kelly was saying, he's saying things about like like half the time people don't want to vote for Trump, and they're like why, and they're like oh, just because I don't like him. You're like, oh well, but how come you like Joe Biden? I don't know. I just hate Donald Trump. You're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
man, it's not a popularity contest, man. You need someone who's going to run this like, and people don't realize, but America has a massive like hold like on the world. Like, man, America, in terms of like what you guys do, you can dictate a lot around the world, and that's why for me, for the first time ever in my life, man, I was like, man, I care who's going to be the president of America. I was like, I really like, and I don't know why, but I'm like, I think Donald Trump's the guy, man. He's the guy that is crazy enough to, once again, he's just an honest guy. Like, that's what I love about him. Like, he's the sort of guy, yeah, he's just like you and I. If he sees a hot girl, he's like, damn, that girl's hot. Like, what is wrong with that? I don't get how in the world, like, you are now being, like, called a pig because you looked at a woman and thought, oh, shit, damn, that girl's like, she's beautiful, she's hot. Yeah. And someone's like, you can't say that. You're like, wow, I'm complimenting her. I said she's beautiful, like, she's hot. Yeah, but you can't say that. You're the president. You're like, what? Like, okay, I'm the president, but I'm still a human. Like, if I find someone attractive, like, he should be able to say it. That's why I like him. I was like, and I really think he was the guy. And I really hope that, this whole thing sorts out and Donald Trump gets in. I don't know why, but I'm backing him, man.
I'll leave you with this. If all I ask is if they remove him and they say that he can't be president, or they say that Joe Biden won, just let Melania stay as the first lady. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Let Melania stay. Let Joe Biden's wife go to her bridge club and she can go hang out and do stuff, but let Melania stay there, because those sexy blouses and that fucking accent,
Ooh.
man. That's what's gonna help me keep myself sane.
I love it.
Well, hey man, thank you so much for coming on. We need to do it again for sure.
Yeah, no, it's fun, man. It was fun.
Yeah, if I get myself down to Florida and you're back, then we'll have to link up. But regardless,
sure,
good luck with everything in the future. And I'm looking forward to the next fight.
I appreciate your time and I appreciate you. Thanks, my man.
For sure. I'll talk soon.
Rock on, my man.